Now just picture this. The Dawn Pound is going absolutely ballistic. Huntington Bank Stadium is shaking, and suddenly we get word that a Super Bowl winning quarterback might be en route to boost our offense. Yep, you heard right. Carson Wentz's name is heating up, and he's being linked to our Cleveland Browns. But let's hit pause for a second. Do we actually need another quarterback added to the mix? Or is this just a distraction, a little smokescreen to keep us guessing? Grab your helmets, brace your emotions, and lock in with me, because today we're diving straight into this developing headline to ask the question, is Wentz the missing piece to Cleveland's 2025 puzzle? Here's the rundown. Browns family. A recent article floated the idea that the Browns should seriously consider signing Carson Wentz, former Philadelphia Eagles QB and Super Bowl champion, yes, even as a backup in 2017. That's right, the man with a ring is being discussed as a possible fit in our locker room. But before we start imagining Wentz slinging dimes to Jerry Jeudy or scrambling for clutch first downs, let's keep our feet on the ground and analyze this situation play by play. Let's assess the current QB room. Deshaun Watson, our franchise guy, but coming off a serious Achilles tear that's got everyone on edge. Kenny Pickett, fresh from Pittsburgh, hungry and with something to prove. Joe Flacco, the seasoned vet, playoff hero, and locker room favorite. Shedeur Sanders and Gabriel, the rookies, both grinding to earn a permanent spot. That's 5 quarterbacks already, which is highly unusual for an NFL roster. And now people are suggesting bringing in a 6th? Come on, Dog Pound, what are we doing here? For those who aren't familiar, here's a Wentz 101 refresher. He was the 2 overall pick in 2016. And in 2017, he was an MVP frontrunner before a devastating knee injury. The Eagles went on to win the Super Bowl with Nick Foles, but Wentz still earned a ring. Since then, a roller coaster. He's bounced from Washington to Indianapolis, then the Rams, and most recently served as backup to Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. He's only started 2 games in the last 2 years, and at 32 years old, you've got to ask, what's really left in the tank? Now, let's be fair, Wentz does bring experience. He's seen every type of defense, played in multiple systems, and handled intense pressure. But if we're being honest, consistency hasn't been his strong suit lately, and Browns fans are done playing roulette with quarterbacks that don't deliver. So what's fueling this Wentz to Cleveland buzz? It's simple. Watson's health is uncertain. The fan base is starving for a winning season, and bringing in a Super Bowl vet sounds enticing. The spotlight turned sour. Suddenly, there was this tidal wave of negative talk. None of it about football. All about character, attitude, personality, but never backed by specifics. That's when it gets personal, because you can't prove or disprove anonymous whispers. You can evaluate tape. Sure, maybe Shedeur doesn't have elite escapability or a cannon like Josh Allen. Fine. That's valid football critique. But these vague character assassinations, they're baseless, and they hurt. You could see the pain on Deion's face, not just as a coach, but as a father. He's always been the protector, the fixer, but now he couldn't fix this. He couldn't shield his son from the politics. And that kind of helplessness, that cuts deep. Let's not forget, Deion's been calling out these lies for a while. At the Big 12 Pro Day, he flat out said he knew who made those anonymous claims. And everyone who's spoken on the record about Shedeur, they've had nothing but praise. Giants GM called him a great kid, football smart, checks every box. Doesn't sound like someone toxic. So what's really going on? Critics pointed out Shedeur skipped the East-West Bowl. Okay, but ask why. Reports say the Titans, Browns, and Giants requested he sit. This wasn't a diva move. It was strategic, driven by the teams themselves. One scout even said he's got swagger, feels like a QB1. So again, where's the proof of a bad attitude? Now, here's where it all gets nuclear, the collusion ruling. The NFL and NFLPA haven't even acknowledged it yet, but the ruling is out there. 61 pages of evidence that were never supposed to see the light of day, and they confirm what so many suspected. The documents outlined a coordinated effort to suppress fully guaranteed contracts. Yes, this goes back to the Deshaun Watson deal and Lamar Jackson's negotiation. According to the report, at a March 2022 owners meeting, just days after the Browns gave Deshaun that historic $230 0-cent fully guaranteed contract, the NFL Management Council didn't just suggest, They encouraged all 32 teams to reduce guarantees in veteran contracts. Let that sink in. This wasn't a tip, it wasn't advice, it was a league-wide directive. That's the very definition of collusion, and it makes you wonder, why hasn't another quarterback received that kind of deal since? Think about it. Multiple MVPs, Pro Bowlers, franchise cornerstones have signed new contracts, none of them fully guaranteed. Why? Because the Browns broke the unspoken rule, and the NFL made sure no one followed their lead. So, yeah, this goes way deeper than just one player. This is about power, control, and whether one team's bold move triggered a league-wide clampdown. Let me know what you think in the comments, because this story is far from over. Let's get straight to it. Fully guaranteed contracts in the NFL? You don't find it the least bit suspicious? See, I'm not one to dive into conspiracy theories. I believe in conspiracies, and if you're unclear on the definition, look it up. A conspiracy is just a group of people coordinating behind closed doors toward a shared goal. That's it. It's not aliens, it's not some wild sci-fi tale, it's powerful business figures aligning their interests and saying, here's how we're going to run things. And that, my friends, is exactly what happened here. Now, circle back to Shedeur Sanders. This man drops all the way to the 5th round. Not the 2nd, not the 3rd, not even the 4th. 5th. And some people are quick to say, well, maybe it was the owner, not the GM, who made that pick. Okay, let's run with that logic. That means the owner was fully aware of the whispers surrounding Shedeur and still decided to pull the trigger. You're telling me that wasn't a setup, that wasn't a consequence? Look, I know it may sound extreme, but let's not ignore the context. It's starting to feel like a message was being sent, almost like the NFL said, all right, Browns, we let you sneak that Watson contract through, but now you're going to feel the consequences. A silent warning to any team considering a fully guaranteed quarterback deal. Don't you dare. And let's be honest, Deshaun Watson hasn't exactly looked like a $230 million zero-cents quarterback since. Injuries, setbacks, maybe it's physical, maybe it's something deeper. Either way, he hasn't lived up to the investment. And now, we're watching the aftermath unfold in real time. So I have to ask you, if the NFL can quietly collude to suppress guaranteed contracts, what makes you think they wouldn't orchestrate a coordinated effort to bury Shedeur Sanders down in the 5th round? If you're still with me, I know you're listening. And I'm not talking about a mild draft slide. I'm talking about a calculated drop to a round where franchise QBs don't typically land. Something deeper is going on here, and you can trace the threads right back to that Watson contract, right back to the Browns. Now let's revisit Shedeur Sanders. You've heard me talk about him before, and I stand on it. He's not just Dion's son. He's not just flashy confidence or social media buzz. The kid is legit. Calm in the pocket, composed under pressure. Smart, efficient, and tested. He's got the toolkit of a future franchise quarterback. But in the lead up to the draft, proven veteran? Or is it time to go all in on the youth movement and see what the next generation is truly made of? Drop your thoughts in the comments. The pace? Blistering. The intensity? Unmatched. This wasn't a no-contact walkthrough. This was a statement, a message to the locker room. It's officially confirmed, the kind of headline that makes you pause mid-scroll, stop mid-sentence, and ask yourself, what just happened in Berea? Stick around, I'm going to break it all down with full context and zero fluff. But first, hit that like button so you don't miss a single update. Today's shockwave? The Cleveland Browns have officially parted ways with defensive end Ogbo Okoronkwo. That's right, Obo is out. Once viewed as a rising cornerstone of the dog pound defense, he's now suddenly and surprisingly released. And no, this isn't your run-of-the-mill transaction. This is a statement. This is Cleveland sending a message. Expectations weren't met. Accountability matters. We're moving forward. Let's unpack this, because beneath the surface, this move is about more than just a roster cut. It's about philosophy, direction, and identity. Okoronkwo wasn't a throwaway signing. He was a notable free agent pickup on a 3-year, $19 million zero-cents contract. The front office, driven by analytics and potential, saw serious value in his pressure rate efficiency from Houston. On paper, Obo looked like he could be a formidable force opposite Myles Garrett. But let's be real. How often does potential translate into production? In this case, it didn't, not even close. Obo concluded the 2023 campaign with just 3 sacks in 16 appearances. Injuries, especially a nagging shoulder issue, derailed his momentum. Even with a valiant effort to return in time for the playoffs, he didn't move the needle. This from a player who boldly declared he'd notch double-digit sacks? The result? More bark than bite. And when Zadarius Smith was traded and Alex Wright went down early, the stage was set for Obo to rise. But he didn't seize it. Worse yet, the tone around his future shifted noticeably in the offseason. His name began to surface in cut candidate chatter. Free agency came and went. The NFL draft passed. Reports hinted Obo and CB Greg Newsome were floated as trade assets. But no bites, no deals, no traction. Now, the Browns simply cut ties. No compensation, no trade, just gone. Why? 2 words, youth and upside. The Browns are clearly doubling down on promising talent like Isaiah McGuire, the former Missouri standout who flashed late-season brilliance when injuries decimated the defensive front. Breaking news out of Berea. The Cleveland Browns have just made a bold roster shakeup that's sending shockwaves through the dog pound. On paper, Wentz could provide leadership like Flacco, but with a different skill set. He could serve as a short-term option if Watson isn't 100%, or if the rookies aren't ready. But here's the risk. Bringing in a guy like Wentz could stunt the growth of young talents like Shedeur Sanders, who's already catching fire in camp. So Dog Pound, what's the play? Do you want to see Sanders develop into a franchise QB, or would you rather have a steady veteran presence like Wentz holding the fort? Let's break down the pros and cons. Pro: Super Bowl champion experience, strong arm, deep ball capability, has worked in multiple offensive systems, could fit Stefanski's scheme, likely comes at a low cost, salary cap friendly, inconsistent play in recent years, hasn't started regularly since 2022, not a clear upgrade over Flacco or Pickett, could create chaos in an already crowded QB room. Might delay the rise of young talent like Sanders and Gabriel imagines Stefanski trying to make a QB decision while fans at Huntington Bank Field are chanting, "We want Sanders." That's a situation nobody wants. If Wentz comes in as a pure insurance policy, fine. But if he's expected to compete for QB1, this could spiral into a circus, and Browns fans are exhausted from watching quarterback soap operas. Let's talk rookies again. Shedeur Sanders needs game reps to evolve. Same goes for Dillon Gabriel. If Wentz takes those away, that growth slows to a crawl. And let's be real, we want to see our young playmakers shine. So, Browns Nation, I'm tossing it back to you. If you were Andrew Berry, would you sign Carson Wentz? Or stick with the crew we've got and let the young guys cook? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who should be QB1 in 2025? A fully healthy Deshaun Watson? Pickett proving he's the future? Flacco running it back for one more ride? Or do you roll the dice on a rookie revolution? And hey, if you live and breathe Cleveland football, don't miss what's next. Smash that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and stay locked in for every breakdown, every roster move, and every wild dog pound moment. One last thing, Browns family, just keeping it real with you. To many, he was a sleeper steal. Not a household name, but a smart, under-the-radar pickup that gave Cleveland's pass rush real upside. He was also the first free agent the Browns signed that offseason, a day-one target in the NFL's legal tampering window. That alone showed how much the front office believed in his upside. But the production never quite matched the projection. Over 2 seasons in Cleveland, Obo registered just 4.5 total sacks, including only 3 in 16 games last year. A shoulder injury in 2023 sidelined him for part of the year, and while he returned for the playoffs, the breakout fans were waiting for never materialized. What stings most? The preseason declaration from Obo himself, "I'm going for 10 sacks." That quote ignited social media and sparked real hope among the fan base. But instead of hitting double digits, he never even matched his Houston output. So where does that leave us now? The release of Okoronkwo isn't just about saving cap space or adding competition at kicker. It's a loud and clear message. The Browns are placing their faith in rising edge rusher Isaiah McGuire. Let's talk about this young stud. After the team dealt away Zadarius Smith and lost Alex Wright to injury, McGuire stepped in late last season and flashed serious promise. made the most of every snap, and he's turned heads again during spring practices. Apparently, he showed enough for Andrew Berry in the front office to say, "We've seen enough, we're ready to move forward. No more fallback options, no more veteran safety nets. This regime is backing their homegrown youth. And why not? This is a Browns defense that was elite in 2023, top 5 by almost every metric, arguably the best in the league. Even with some regression in 2024, the leadership isn't panicking. They're not clinging to familiar names. They're doubling down on their young core. This is about more than one roster move. This is about identity, evolution, and belief in the next generation of Browns defenders. Make no mistake, this is a statement move. You don't cut ties with a veteran edge rusher who still flashes pass rush upside unless you're completely sold on the talent behind him. The Browns' release of Ogbonnia Okoronkwo isn't just a roster transaction, it's a full-throttle vote of confidence in Isaiah McGuire and Alex Wright, assuming Wright returns to form post-triceps injury, is also a quiet indictment of Obo's underwhelming tenure in Cleveland. And the Browns didn't stop there. They just acquired Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, a former first-round pick from Tampa Bay. Now, Tryon-Shoyinka's career thus far has been enigmatic, caught between roles, never quite unlocking his full potential in the Bucs scheme. But the raw traits are there. The Browns' defensive staff clearly sees a moldable weapon, a potential rotational disruptor ready to be unleashed. And with Myles Garrett anchoring the line, McGuire on the rise, Wright poised to rebound, and Tryon-Shoyinka adding depth, this pass rush room is becoming a serious problem for opposing offenses. It may not be dripping with household names, but it's loaded with explosive upside and untapped power. Now let's not ignore the other side of this move, the kicker competition. The Browns brought in Andre Schmidt to go head-to-head with Dustin Hopkins, who had an erratic 2024 campaign. Let's call it what it was. Costly. Hopkins' misfires directly contributed to a handful of losses. So the addition of Schmidt, even if he's just a training camp body, sends an undeniable message. No one is untouchable. Complacency will not be tolerated. Accountability is the new standard, and that's the culture shift Browns fans have long demanded. So yes, Okoronkwo is gone. A player once welcomed with high expectations, now released to make room for a kicker. But peel back the layers and it becomes clear, this move speaks to so much more. It's a window into how Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski's staff are reshaping the future. This isn't just about replacing a player, it's about redefining the identity of the defense. This front office is betting big on its development pipeline. A bold and risky proposition, sure, but one that could pay massive dividends if the youth movement delivers. Let's zero in on Isaiah McGuire, former Missouri Tiger 4th-round selection and a freakishly gifted edge talent. When the Browns handed him late-season snaps in 2023, he didn't just show up, he showed out. His burst, motor, and physicality turned heads, and now the team is essentially handing him the keys to the edge opposite, Garrett. That's not a casual endorsement, that's trust. And then there's Alex Wright, a quietly ascending contributor until injury struck. He was carving out his niche, steadily becoming a dependable force in the rotation. If he's back to full strength, he's another crucial pillar in this retooled defensive front. Add in Tryon-Shoyinka, and you're looking at a room that may not have name recognition beyond Garrett, but could be deceptively dangerous. If Cleveland's coaches can unlock even a fraction of the flashes Tryon-Shoyinka displayed at Washington and in brief NFL bursts, this unit could be terrifying once again. Beyond X's and us, this move also sends a resounding message to the entire locker room. Produce or be replaced. This staff isn't handing out snaps based on veteran status or salary cap legacy. They're prioritizing performance, hunger, and adaptability. That sets a tone that resonates deep in the building. Of course, some fans may feel conflicted. Obo wasn't a disaster, he was solid. From preparation to conditioning, every detail is being redefined, and that transformation was already on full display during minicamp. This Carson Wentz situation? I've got mixed feelings. We've had our hearts broken by too many QB experiments. Personally, I'm team let the rookies cook. Let Shedeur sling it like he did at Colorado and show us what the future looks like. But if Wentz is just a high-level backup, I can live with that. My biggest fear? getting trapped in another maybe that leaves us right back where we started. Let me know what you think. Would you bring in Wentz or ride with the squad we've got? Hit that like button, share with your fellow diehards, and subscribe so you never miss a snap. Let's make this team fly in 2025. Go Browns.